Hi everybody, my name is Sarah Gitchier-Hartman and I am a member of the Phys Ed Summit and Phys Edagogy teams. I live in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm a middle school physical educator. This morning, it's 3 a.m. where I live. I'm joined by Adam Metcalf, and he is going to teach us how to organize our chaos with management strategies to enhance physical education classes. Adam's in the Chicago area, so it's also 3 a.m. his time. So if we seem a little loopy, that's why. I just want to remind everybody that at the Phys Edagogy website, you can access our feedback survey for the Phys Ed Summit. If you fill out the survey, then in return, you will receive a participation certificate in case you need that for professional learning hours through your school district. It will be sent to you via email. Go ahead, Adam, take it away.
All right, good morning, everyone in the U.S. Yeah, it's 3 a.m. here. And Sarah, you were a little choppy with the internet connection, so we were trying to figure out before what was going on with the audio. So if the audio cuts out every now and again, we apologize. And how this goes with the technology, but hopefully all goes well, and I share some ideas that you guys can use practice to kind of organize your chaos a little bit better. I don't have a pink shirt, but I'm rocking this this shirt here. It's got a little purple in it. This is a shirt that we got when my stepmother got cancer, and she passed away about 4 years ago. So I'm supporting all those who have been affected by cancer out there, which is a great cause for sure. But yeah, let's get going, and thanks for everyone who's jumping on the Tazo back channel. Please feel free to chime in with questions, and Sarah, it's certainly okay to stop me if someone wants me to go a little bit more in depth with any of the topics I touch on. So just jump in if someone has a question. The reason why I kind of chose this time slot is to give back a little bit. People that get up in the middle of the night, like in Australia. I'm rocking my koala mug here for you guys. But yeah, you guys always get up really early or stay up really late for us, so I don't mind doing it all for you. But yeah, let's get going here. I'm gonna bring presentation. Hopefully my screen share works. All right. Sarah, are you getting all that? You guys see?
Yep, we're good. It's really clear.
Perfect. All right. Orchestrate your chaos. If anyone were to in one of my classes that probably doesn't teach PE, they would most likely think that I'm insane. But the thing is about us as PE teachers is that we know pretty much exactly what should be going on in all areas of the gym. My 32 to 34 students, and I well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a wife and a son. There's a picture of them. My son Quinn is one. I have a business background, so I graduated and then went back to become a teacher. So my business degree has served me pretty well with the way I can utilize terms, stay organized. I've been on a few professional development trips over to Australia, New Zealand, and I've taken a look at different instructional models, how to integrate science, and classroom management strategies as well. So my school, as I mentioned, we are a pre-K to 8 school for academically gifted students in one field, about the size of a soccer field, and we have 2 full-time PE teachers, about 350 students, and like I said before, my class sizes are between 32 and 34. Here are the topics I'm going to be discussing, and these are not order. As I was putting this together, all of these topics tie into one another and build up in some way. but going from top to bottom here, I think that I switched around it. The planning time, I think, is probably where this all begins. So how are you using your planning time? Is in fact pretty much everything else. So I'm going to get into that a little bit. And some things that work well for me is setting up time for tasks. So rather than just coming in and sitting in my office and checking email and checking Facebook and checking Twitter and then, you know, I really like to stay organized with my time. And the best way to do that for me is to set black and white rules. Not taking out of it. If I know that when I come in every morning, the first thing that I'm going to do is open up my lesson planner before I've done anything else, 10, 15 minutes to really kind of renew what I did yesterday in my head and plan out the day exactly how I'd like to, or set up my grade level outcomes or whatever it is I need to do with my lesson planning. I do first thing. And how I have set up here, I mean, you can block off time for assessment, email, phone. If you're someone who needs to recharge in the middle of the really set up those rules, and you must stick with them. You can't, you know, and the reason why is because those are non-negotiable. So if you have set aside a time block for assessment, don't even look at your email. Otherwise, you're going to be distracted and you're going to go off on a tangent. So the most important thing is to respect your time when planning. So think about what, and think about, you know, your work habits as opposed to what's tempting, and really hold yourself accountable. If you can, it's really going to serve you well with maximizing your time in your office before you even get in front of the students. A book I read last year is called Getting Things Done: The Art of Stress-Free Productivity by David Allen. And I really took away a lot of things last year, and then that I continue to use. Here is a visual thumbs up what he talks about in the book. But if you haven't read it, it's definitely worth a read if you need to get organized with your workflow. When something comes into you, whether it's through email or an idea or through a conversation or mail or whatever it is, you need to make it simple. Right now, is it going to take less than 2 minutes? If so, I'll do it now. If it's going to take more than 2 minutes, I'm going to delegate it and put it into my inbox. And so, you know, he sets up to really take what you want to do and then set aside a time for it. As far as desk organization, look, I have an organizer that has 4 slots. The top slot is my in. So anything that I need to work on or that comes up that I need to address at some point, I'm going to put it in my inbox. I go through my inbox and get it 0 at least once or twice a week. If I wish I could do it more, but that's my current inbox. A lot of stuff in there. If it's something that you need to just write on a piece of paper and then put it in your inbox, so if there's an idea that I need to get to, I put it right there. The next slot, and my tabs to the right there are above the actual slot. So my second slot from the top is projects. So those are things that are ongoing projects that I'm working on, and those are things that I'm not going to necessarily get to anytime soon, but I want to try to get to them at some point. The thing like a sport ed CrossFit unit that I really want to try out, or something to that effect, where that would be awesome to do. I just anytime soon. And then the last one is paper. So if I need to grab a quick piece of paper, draw out, you know, my lesson plan or draw out something that I want to try, or just put it in my inbox as well. So I got paper there. My subfolder is good to go on my desk. As far as email organization, this is another thing that has really helped me stay organized. Is putting that before my inbox categories there. So the top one is at action. The reason why the at is there is because it's going to alphabetize it first. And I know some email inbox organizers will let you organize it, but mine's alphabetical. So it means these are things that I have to do, soon, like today. Someday maybe, again, if I get an email that is cool, like an article, plopper. If there's an email that I'm waiting for someone else to reply, I'll put it into my waiting for inbox. And then everything else below that is just keeping me organized. So anything I want to just, rather than delete it, I'll archive it so I can get categories of emails that that keep me. If I need to look for something, regarding schedules, I'll go down my schedule, maybe meetings, or anything with scheduling. But this is how I organize my email. Again, you want to try to get anything that's coming into my inbox. I'm going to delegate it at some point into one of these folders and then deal with it accordingly. And that keeps me organized. The second topic, besides planning time, is getting into routines. And routines are just a sequence of actions followed regularly. These are things that you are going to have to build and rehearse. Any PE teacher knows that routines are extremely important. How are you starting class? How are you ending class? How do you deal with grouping and partnering? And one of the things that is what steps do I take to teach the students what to do with written work? And one of the things that I do that they love, worksheets. I usually do half worksheets. So I'll cut them in half so they're a little bit smaller. For students, if we're doing written work, to pass out papers rather than just passing them out, I'll just throw them up in the air as high as I can. Love it. They see all the papers go flying into the sky. They want to get a sheet of paper. Then they have two sections of the gym that they can get their pencils. They know where they're going to do their written work. Everyone has a spot. I don't call it squads. That's kind of a little bit too old school for me, but they have their spots where they go and do their written work, and they know the routines for that. So that's just one thing to consider. As far as starting class, getting into a routine, really, I always try to send the signal to my students that this is an active class. We should be dynamic. We don't line up. I don't have them sit in rows quietly before I get started. Nothing like that, obviously. But they walk laps. It gives them a chance to social. I have classes that start right after the other, sometimes different grade levels. So I might have an 8th grade class and then a 3rd grade class. So sometimes I have to set up equipment. And so I'll have them walk and socialize while I'm getting everything put in its place. Usually that just, and they know that if there's equipment being set out that they have to, either go around it or steer clear of it. So those procedures and routines are extremely important so that we're not going to waste any of their activity time. I use music. So once the music gets cranking, they are we'll do instant activities. You can see this is an example on the right there of one of my warm-up posts, usually an activity of some sort at the top, and then the rest of it is prescribed exercises, math problems, some reading, and it allows them to kind of work independently, or they can work with a friend or a small group at their own pace. I don't tell them, I don't do it all together. We don't count out loud, nothing like that, I have to put a doing these, and as I watch them, I can go around and see each student in correct form if need be. So that's part of my dynamic. The number 3 thing that I wanted to touch on is procedures. And routines and procedures, they go together, and they work well off of one another. So even though we have routines, there's also procedures that are something, whatever that is. How are we gathering together? Does everyone have to sit, or can they stand, in the back? Can they move around? I allow for these things. So whenever we are getting together to talk or discuss something, or if they need to listen to me, or if I'm showing a video, they have a certain way where they're gathered together. And I do allow them a little bit of for whatever helps them listen and stay quietly the best way that they can. So something to consider. I have had classes in the past can't handle this type of thing, or they sit next to their friends and get distracted, and you can take steps according to away from one another, or have certain assigned spots for those individuals. Even something like signals. I use music to time is if they need to use the restroom or get a drink, that is allowed when the music is playing, so that they don't miss any of our major topics. And be consistent with your language and verbiage. I use the word go as the start signal. I got this from J.D. Hughes about 5 or 6 years ago, is just calling out 1, 2, 3, and then all my getting down on one knee, finding me with their eyes, and then they respond with a huh. So that if they don't hear the one, like huh. So from there, I can either speak to them where they are, or here, seconds, ready, go. Then we get together, go over what we need to go over, and then I send them back. So they know about those procedures. Some other things with classroom organization. Equipment storage is huge. So make sure that your equipment cabinet or closet is organized in a way that allows you to go in and out and select equipment quickly. We have mats all over our walls, so I use tarp bungees that are these little bungees that have so I can stick things in the wall. This is a canister for pencils, so I can stick that in the wall, and students can grab these hooks a lot. So I have so these are my plickers hooks down there at the bottom, so that whenever I'm using plickers, it's easy to take off the hook, go to your spot, and then return it. There's 3 plickers cards per hook, so I have 11 hooks for that. Jump ropes on the wall, so those are out in the corner, so that anytime we use jump ropes, they can just go grab one off the hook. And I have 2 drop boxes on the doors, so that anytime we do written work, they're not all waiting for one person ahead of them to drop in the drop box. Some other things that I have for procedures for independent problem solving is I have a problem solving area. There's a conflict corner. This is essentially the same thing. I got it from a curriculum called Second Step, and I created this from one of the Second Step posters about 5 or 6 years ago, and it really helps whenever there's a students need to resolve. They can just go over to the corner, follow these steps in the process, and reflect on whether or not it changes. So if 2 individuals are having a problem, if someone has cheated, or if someone was tagged and there's a discrepancy for it, I don't, they know to ask the other individual, will you come to the problem solving area with me? And the answer is always yes. Those 2 or 3 people need to go to that area. They work through the issues. If I need to go in and help them resolve it, I do, but a lot of times they can solve their own problems on their own. The other one is for off-task behavior, the oops example. If there's a student who's off task, rather than taking the time to address the off-task behavior in front of everyone, wasting everyone's time, I will just say, tell the student oops, and they know to go over and fill out an oops. It's just a half sheet of paper, and whatever they were doing wrong or inappropriately, they fill out the sheet. Which choice, which rule will they break? They can make next time is whatever it is. They drop it in the Dropbox and they can immediately rejoin class. So these oopses are great because it allows have a tangible sheet of paper that can go in their file. If I need to bring it up in conferences, if they have or more, I can address it with a phone call home to parents, and I have exactly what they did in class, and we can hopefully squash that behavior soon. The next topic, and I know I'm kind of flying through this stuff, so jump in if there are any questions out there.
Adam, we don't have
Yeah.
any questions at this time, but your pacing is great. You and I are having audio issues, but it's not bad for our audience. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Okay, good. Yeah, so you were kind of choppy there. I'm glad you came through with that, because I'm not able to hear myself, obviously, out there in the
Yeah, this is great. Keep going.
Okay, cool. So the next thing, the next category is executive functioning, and these are skills that allow students to plan and organize, just to complete their own tasks. And one thing that we don't think about is that our students' brains in a developmental process, especially in middle school. The adolescent brain is a crazy place. We need to do everything we can to make organizing and completing tasks as easy as we can for them. And I know if they forget to do something, or they're not organized with their whatever it is, they're bringing their uniform, those types of. We need to understand that that part of their brain is still developing. So we had some experts come in from a neuroscience center here in Chicago, and the three things that a large digital clock, and I wrote a blog about this a few years ago, and the one I have, it's a giant digital clock for regular time, or you can have it count down the minutes, and this really makes time tangible for the time. So if you don't have a digital clock that everyone can see in your school or in your gym, I would highly keep that task a little bit better. And practicing time. Students don't always realize what you can get done in 30, how long 2 minutes feels like. So to rehearse and practice what time actually is and what it feels like is really important. The other thing is to have an agenda posted, and I have an example of this on the next page. Today in today's class, and for how long it's going to take. And then another, some other things that you can post, but having things visual in front of students is an example of one of the agendas that I might have on our whiteboard. The number next to it is how many minutes that's going to take. So each class starts off with a 5-minute warm-up. Then the break usually varies between 2 to 3 minutes. It's color-coded so that the things that we're going to be active doing are in blue, and the things that are inactive are going to be in orange. You can do whatever colors you want. That's just how I usually have it set up. And stick to this. Again, if you have these numbers up here and you are going off on tangents, then these agendas are meaningless. But you can also allow, a little wiggle room if you're having a great conversation. you obviously don't want to just stop right in the middle of it. So try to stick with it as best you can, but if let the kids know, hey, we're going to adjust our time frame for the rest of our agenda in a little bit. So so yeah, stick to it, but also, be reasonable if you don't want to skip over a great conversation. Number five, so transitions. This is must practice, practice, practice. Going from something where you're listening to either partnering or doing some sort of, prior to the transition, the teacher must state your expectations. So state everything clearly. Don't give them 3 or 4 or 5 things to do and then expect them to remember all of those things. So keep it simple. One thing that after I give one part of the transition instruction, I'll have them repeat it to a neighbor. So if I say, first thing I want you to do is grab a gator skin ball. All right, repeat that to a neighbor. Then they're going to say, grab a gator skin ball. Boom. Then you're going to go to personal space. So it's something that I can quickly respond. It doesn't have to be that simple. To a game, you can have them repeat those things to a neighbor before they go, and that just, if they weren't paying attention, they'll at least hear it from the person next to them that second time. And then give them a time frame. Give them an odd time frame. So don't always say 10 seconds. Give them 13 seconds or 9 seconds and ends out. And always start with when I say go, or when I give you the signal, and then try to allow them time to do that, and then count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then boom, they should be. And if they're not, address why they're not, or did I say something incorrectly as a teacher? How can I be more clear with throw those things out there, so that your students can get used to your transitions. Number 6, partner grouping. This is something that we do all the time as PE teachers. So and you want to practice. Most of the time I use Team Shake for my grouping. And if you're not familiar with that, it's an iPhone or iPad app that you can input your classes and then set the different groups so that you can balanced groups, balanced teams, and then switch it up relatively quickly. If you have a TV or a projector in your gym, you can project it up there so that they know which group that they're in, that they can get together with that group. But a lot of times I'll just call it out and kind of point to the area where I want them to group, and as I call them out, they can start moving to that area, and wait quiz in their group. But there are some other ways to do partnering. Last year I did some silly handshakes. I got from the P's. Chip Candy was presenting that, where they're doing, they partner quickly, and I give them a silly handshake that they partner, and then we mix it up, and they quickly partner with another person, and it's a different handshake, and to quickly practice that partnering. You can do partner mix-ups with movement skills, manipulative skills, fitness stuff. So lots of different ways to do partnering, but you got to practice it. And if you don't practice it, you can't expect the kids to be any better. I do every now and then is Mingle Mingle. I think it's from Spark curriculum, where it's Mingle Mingle, toe to toe, a partner, or elbow to elbow in groups of 3. What I found with that is the kids tend to friends. They're not going to randomly partner up. So sending that message that, hey, we got to be able to work with different partners throughout class, throughout the entire year, and then you can always come back to it. It's easy thing to say. Remember your partner that you did, you know, such and such handshake at the beginning of the year. Go find your happy salmon partner, or go find a bro hug partner, whatever, you know, whatever you did at the beginning of the year. You can carry those partners and groups throughout the entire year. Quick transition. The next thing, this is one procedure or routine that is extremely helpful for me in classes for practicing skills and kind of refining skills from in far distances. I call it partner positions. I'm going to just toggle over here to a video. Partner positions is basically using lines on your floor to indicate certain distances. So I have this is the north side of my gym, and down here's the south side. I don't have the kids use the east and west, and you'll see in a second. But if we're doing skills at a short distance, I'll have them get into partner position 1. That way they can practice the ball and catching from a short distance. And then we'll have the inside partner rotate. The ball will go to the outside, so the partner on the blue line. And then anyone who's on the inside, closest to the center circle, they're going to rotate counterclockwise. They'll rotate one partner over, and then you're going to practice with a new partner. We'll back it up. So partner position 2, we have lane line extended. So they're going to back up to the lane line extended. It's a little bit further, and they can practice their skill from that distance. You rotate. It's always the object goes to the partner on the blue line, the outside partner, and the inside partner will rotate one spot over. Partner position 3, and they love this one because it's a little bit further, is we just flip it. Then we go east and west. And they go from a little, further distance. And again, they're practicing skill with that partner, and same rules apply. Inside partner is going to rotate. The ball or object always goes to the outside partner. So this is something that we practice starting in kindergarten, and elementary and middle school to just stay skill practice. And the kids know that anytime we go to partner positions, what distance that is and how they rotate to go to the next partner. So I just call it partner position 1, partner position 2, partner position 3. The beginning of class, use those. And here's a little game that we play sometimes. If they're in partner position 1 or 2, soccer skills, they can use, this is called pass, trap, and punt tag, where they're with the partner, they pass and trap, tag, whoever is closest to the ball picks it up, and we use gator skin balls for this, and they use that gator skin ball as their tag in the tag game, where they're trying to chase down their partner. If they are able to tag their partner, they can punt that ball away, and then that gives them to get away from their partner who's chasing them. And then when I call out pass and trap, they get back together with their partner, and they can trap thing. All right, number 7, maximizing space. There's lots of different ways that you can maximize. There are lots of different rock, paper, scissors games that you can do to maximize smaller spaces. One game that we play is morphing. Too far into it, but it's a rock, paper, scissors game where you can only challenge someone who's the same character as you. So everyone starts off as an egg. Scissors, you move up 1 level. If you lose, you move down 1 level, but the lowest you can get is egg. So you can go against the chicken, you become an eagle. If you beat an eagle, you become a superhero, and you're acting out these characters as you're in the game. You can play this game of morphing with anything. We do tadpole, frog, alligator, velociraptor, But most importantly, we use these rock, paper, scissors games to maximize our space. So if you have, your play area, it doesn't always have to be divided into equal sized areas. So you might have a medium sized game going on, a smaller skill practice, and a really some other ways that we maximize space is you might have, two volley or whatever it is, and then set aside some practice skills. So you can see in this GIF here at the bottom that I have kids playing spike ball games while there's two other teams that are playing volleyball. With your spaces to match. Like I said at the beginning, if someone came into my class and saw all this going on, they might think I'm insane or that it's a little bit chaotic. Yes, it is, but I know exactly what they should be doing in each of these spaces, and so do they. Some other things that you can do is have a really and then a really small game. Or rather than having a small game, you might have the students working on the on scooter. So we might have a scooter hockey or a scooter netball game going on. You can do fitness activities. I've put a workout video on, and they have to follow along with the workout video. They can do like fitness Jenga. I know I've seen that out there. Sometimes we'll do a fitness take at all, or we'll do peer self-assessments in a small area while there's two games going on. This is a game that maximizes space in your gym. So levels, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but basically to zigzag through the course, and then you go back to the beginning. There's a tagger in each level. If you get tagged in that level, you go back to the start of the beginning. If you make it through that level to the other side, then it's kind of like a video game. You don't have to go back to the start. You made it to that spot. You can put poly spots down for safe zones, but this game's awesome for it's a large broken down to smaller kind of like video game, smaller sections that you don't have to go all the way back to the start.
Hey Adam, we have a question from Andy Hare.
Yeah.
He says, of all these strategies that you're sharing, what are the top 3 that you find that you use the most?
Of all the strategies that I'm sharing, what are the top 3?
Mm-hmm. That you use the most?
Like I said at the beginning, it's going. A lot of them go hand in hand. Your planning time. In your planning time, your class isn't going to be as organized as it could be. So that's the first one. Building routines is the second most important. So routines and procedures, they go hand in hand to me. And then if they're able to procedures and routines, then they're going to be able to maximize space and do all of these other things along the way. So I would say the teacher being organized is the most important, and then being able to clearly state those things to your students will help them organize. So that's what I would say to that. So make sure that you have done the prep in advance, know what you're going to say, be clear, be calm more than anything. If things aren't going well, if you start to freak out on the kids and start yelling and screaming, that's not going to benefit anyone. So the more calm that you can stay, the better it is. You'll have control over your classes and the better organized class.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Just a couple more things. So we're on number 8. I have these are my top 10. Student choice is going to be another thing that's going to help organize your chaos a little bit better. I do elective units. I started doing these about 7 or 8 years ago, and then really got back into it last year again with sport ed TG hybrid units. So allowing students to elect into a certain activity, especially in middle school, has worked really, really well. What choice? Would you prefer to be in soccer or ultimate, or does it not really matter to you? They can balance the activities a little bit better. And you can do this same sort of thing with like fitness type things. So if I know I'm doing a basketball unit, my students can elect to be of the strength basketball section or the wellness basketball section. So the strength would focus on well activity, also like resistance training. The wellness group, when we're doing wellness activities, might do yoga, Pilates, and, relaxation techniques. So these are just a couple ideas that I've thrown out there for student choice. Some other things that you can do is let your students be autonomous. Let them have some other choices. They're just some things that we use in our yearly planning to allow for student choice. Exploring fitness is we have heart rate monitors. So when students are using heart rate monitors about once a week or once every 2 weeks, they're allowed to choose whatever activities they want, but their objective for that day is to get so many minutes in their target heart rate zone. I do a unit with my 3rd graders through 8th graders called Challenge Me, and I got this from an Illinois teacher, Susie Johansson, and it's basically, I have, I don't know, I think 50 challenges right now, and I've shared this out on Twitter before, so just look for challenge timeline or shoot me an email. I can send you the resources for Challenge Me. But it's basically the kids get their own sheet and they are selecting whatever challenges they want, and they have to have a witness with them to make sure that they achieved that challenge, sign off on it, and then they can for 3 or 4 days. And so they come in, everything's set up for them. They just grab their sheet and they go. Similar, but these are like jump rope challenges. So they are advancing to the next level. Red has also created a Black Diamond Club, which is really, really advanced jump rope challenges. So it allows students to select activities and work at their level, whatever that skill level is. So I'm going to keep moving on here to the next and for some more. Number 9 is utilizing technology. However comfortable you are with technology is the guy who uses it in your classes, but it must be purposeful. I have, like I said before, we have heart rate monitors. We have pads and 5 tripods, and these are great for students getting away. It's called BAM video delay, which is it's basically like looking at an instant replay of what you did, so many seconds. You can do all the way up to 2 minutes if you want. But in the picture here, these are 2 students that are bowl. So they just did bowling. Now they're going to take a look and see how they did with their form. I'll have these iPads set up at strategic spots in the gym, and the rule is, it's there for a reason. Don't make silly faces. Don't do a dance in front of it. If you are doing these things, then you're not going to use the iPads anymore. So set rules for the students allows for a much more productive class. I have it set for, normally is, jump rope skills in front of it, and then go behind it, see themselves doing jump rope, and then the next person has already started going. So we use these a lot. It's great for a game like chook ball. So if you play chook ball in your classes, you know that everyone is open in chook ball. Certain people are not getting the ball. That can be frustrating. They can play a game of chook ball and then go and watch it in BAM video and see for themselves, yeah, see, take a look. You're not sharing the ball. You know, you're always taking the shots, and it lets them reflect on. So there's lots of different ways to use technology to help kind of manage and organize your class without you having to do everything for it. And it's relatively easy. Once you've used band video delay on tripods, it's super simple. I'll have students that just ask for it. Say, hey, can you get out the tripod? I want to take a look and see what I'm doing. And if I need a couple minutes, I'll just tell them, hey, yep, I'll get it done here in just a second for you. No problem. So technology is great. Some other apps that I use that help me stay organized are Decide Now. That's just like a spinning wheel. You can there spin the wheel, and it will help you select whatever it is you want to select, whether it's a game or a number. You can put Idocchio is the program that I use to do data tracking, and then you know, obviously Coach's Eye, Twitter just help me with, you know, Coach's Eye with, you know, video feedback type things, and then Twitter is just something that helps me become better as a teacher. You can always get ideas from Twitter, obviously. And last, things that you can do, and all of this goes into increasing. Be clear, be concise, use humor, build those relationships at the beginning of the year. The students manipulate your presentation style, so be animated, but also make sure that you appear relaxed. When your students are listening, make sure that you give them eye contact, nod your head. You know, active listening is so important so that your students know that you care. And this will increase student motivation across the board, and you'll get more done in your classes. Last, I've taken ideas from. I mentioned the one at the beginning, getting things done, but the power of habit is great for habits. By Daniel Pink is awesome for intrinsic motivational strategies. The inner game of tennis is a you know, it's using tennis as its guide, but it's basically about showing more and saying less, and what that will do for your, you know, your students or pupils. Ever work hard on your students is a good one that allows you to you know, delegate some of the in your class. So that is my presentation in a nutshell, and I know I sped through that, but if there are questions out there, I would love to hear it.
No, you did fantastic. And I've asked the group several times if they have any questions, and everybody just said, no, we're just taking this all in. And there were lots of people who were like, yeah, I use that app, especially Andy here. He wanted to know if you've been stealing his iPad because you use the same things. So no, nobody has any questions at this time, but everybody agrees that you just totally killed it, or as Andy said, you smashed it.
All right, thanks, Andy. Yeah, man. Yeah, probably everyone's asleep by now. You know, it's so early, but yeah, like I said at the beginning, I hope that you can just take a couple of these things, and if you need more information about any of these, please reach out. I'm always willing to share more in depth with any of the topics I brushed over. But these you have to put into practice, and then, you know, you'll see the results, and it'll make you feel more comfortable getting more organized and your class a little bit more organized. Because with large class sizes, as we all know in PE, it can be tough and it can be frustrating. And we always, a lot of times, you'll want to go back to the way you were taught, and you know that that's not all. So getting comfortable, I think things be a little bit chaotic. Obviously, within reason, you don't want things to be unsafe. And then bring the group together, bring your class together, and say, okay, how can we do a little bit better with listening or transitioning or grouping. And then address and practice these things. And you'll get better and better at them the more you practice.
Awesome, cool. Well, let's wrap it up here, Adam. And I just want to thank everybody for joining. I want to thank Adam for presenting. And don't forget that there is a survey at physedagogy.com so that you can give us your feedback. And in return, we will send you a certificate of attendance. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.